Okay, so we are going to go live right now, and we're just waiting for Tim to come on the feed. Okay. There you go. Let's approve that. Okay. And here we go. Hey, Tim. It went smoother than in the test, I guess. Okay, so can you hear me right? Is there a delay or anything? Okay,
No,
excellent.
I can hear you perfectly.
It's lovely to have you. Thank you so much for this, man.
Thank you.
It's awesome to.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
Really nice.
Okay, so that everybody knows and understands what's going on here. We just very recently had the opportunity to meet each other, and it was kind of cool because all that happened is that Tim placed an ad on one of my Facebook groups. I looked at it. I'm like, oh my God, Wim Hof method, awesome. So I sent him a message. I'm like, I've just approved it. It's so awesome. And now we've had a couple of conversations. We're together here, and it's really amazing to have you on board. I'm so delighted to have you here, and so excited about our conversation today.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah.
Oh man,
Thanks
pleasure.
for having me.
And we're gonna do this quite a bit. So everybody that who's watching and listening and everything,
Yeah.
Couple of warnings here. Number one, at some point, we're gonna need you to sit down or lay down. And if you're driving a car, or if you're working heavy machinery or delivering babies, or in the kitchen, doing your knife thing, you need to stop doing that, because we're going to go into some really deep, awesome stuff here that requires your attention, and that is not a good thing to do if you're actually driving a car or delivering babies.
Yeah. But we will be
Absolutely.
warning you beforehand, so
yes,
now you're safe.
Yeah, we're not going to put you in a hypnotic thing right now. Okay, so Tim, tell me exactly what's the Wim Hof method all about?
Okay, so the Wim Hof method is, Wim Hof is a guy from the Netherlands. He's a good friend of mine. He's called the Iceman, and he has been working with cold training and ice bath, and he has like 26 world records on his name that mostly have to do with cold training, like running half a marathon in Lapland above the pole circle in his shorts only, on his bare feet. Almost 2 hours immersion in an ice bath, which is basically impossible. And so he was called a superhuman, and he basically said, like, well, that's just not true, because anybody can do what I can do. And he created a method that is called the Wim Hof method. It's a very original name, Wim Hof method, and it contains of 3 pillars. So pillar number 1 is what everybody knows him of, the Iceman, is cold training. And it can be as extreme as immersion in an ice bath. This is if you do a training with me or one of my colleagues or with Wim, you will be going in an ice bath, although you don't have to, because it's always optional. But the simple version is to end your shower cold. Yeah, so that's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is a breathing technique, which is also truly amazing. And here, if we're going to do this live in the next hour, this is where we need to do a warning. And the 3rd pillar is called mindset or focus training. And basically in one sentence, that is that you can do more than you think you can. and not like like 10% more, like average growth in revenues of an average company. No, more like 2 or 3 times more, or maybe 10 times, or maybe even more. I don't know. I'm just exploring this myself as well. So that is in like in short, that is what the Wim Hof method.
Now that's really awesome. Mainly because, okay, number one, it's when we hear about this whole marathon thing on the ice, that's one thing. I remember reading or hearing Wim talking about, he was talking about how he was swimming under the ice, and he didn't realize that corneas froze.
Yeah.
And he went blind and couldn't find his way out.
Yeah, I know that.
Yet he made it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Yes, I actually can, because I heard this story from him as well. And so this was, he was doing this 50 meters under ice. He was doing that, say, tomorrow. And today they were doing the test. But he forgot his little goggles, like swimming glasses, basically, his goggles. And he knew that 50 meters is like 36 strokes, because every stroke is 1.2 meter. But then around halfway, he realized that his sight was getting blurry, and a few meters further, he couldn't see anymore. So he was like, damn, what should I do? But in the meantime, unconsciously, he kept on counting. And so it was like 36 times. And he was like, what can I do? I'm blind. What should I do? 41, 42. And he was like, oh, damn. So he went further than the hole. And then he had to try and find his way back. And the scuba divers that are supposed to save him, they weren't paying attention. So this is his moment where he came close to death. As far as I know, the only time where he just kept on searching, and his heartbeat went down. He felt extreme euphoria, and at that moment, he didn't think about, oh, this is the last thing I do. At that moment, there was this scuba diver and grabbed him by the neck and got him out, and he survived. So the world record was not set at 50 meters, but
by accident,
because
by a blind man at that time. So he recovered his sight.
Yeah.
We know this.
No, but basically, so when he got out, it all came back, and the next day he wore goggles, and he just did that 50 meters, without any problem, because the day before he did much more than that.
But this time he just said, okay, look, I said 50 meters, I have to do it anyways. He's got an incredible spirit.
But the funny thing is that Wim, why I became friends with him, because he's the Iceman, and he's like, wow, like this real male. I don't really connect very much with that, but I had a few moments where we had like really cool talks, and he's a kind of, like very, very intelligent man that works on his personal development. And basically Wim is doing all these extreme things, and he is saying what I can do, you can do, but you should not forget that he had a training of like 45 years or something like that. Since 15, he's now almost 60. Yes, although we can do what he can do, what is very important within the method is no peer pressure. We're talking about gaining control over your inner world. Well, if you talk about gaining control of your inner world, nobody other than yourself can decide what you should do. So within this training that I gave, the Wim Hof method training, the ice bath is always optional, because first of all, you need the preparation of the first few hours, and a lot of people, I think 50%, they're not sure if they're going to do this ice bath, and that is okay, because nobody can tell you what to do. If you paid for my training, it doesn't mean you have to go into the ice bath, and I certainly will not push you. And I was last weekend in New York, and there were a few people who were like, I'm not going to do it, I don't feel right. And I just said, okay, cool. I think it's cool you dare saying that. If you have 30 people and one is saying, like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. That is deciding for yourself. But normally, they see everybody go in, and in the end, they just get out of their clothes and they go in
pretty
anyway.
Awesome.
And
well, I'm looking forward to being in that with you. Um, that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested in everything that you're saying for many, many reasons. But one of them is that I am a
Mm.
biohacker at heart, you know? So, and
Yes.
pretty much
Yeah.
anybody who knows me knows that apart from being a coach, biohacking is a big, huge part of my life. Everything from brain
Mm.
frequencies to removing out oxidative stress and everything.
Yeah.
But there's a
Yeah.
point, and I think
Yeah.
this is where you and I converge really nice. There's a point where taking control of your own biology and taking control of your
Mm.
mind converge, and I
Yeah.
think this
Totally.
is this is incredibly important, and when it's achieved, it's really impressive. And I know a little while ago we started talking
Hmm.
about the surrender. I'd like to explore that with you if you're okay
Yes.
with that.
Yeah. Let me start with an example. The first time I went into an ice bath was with the training of Wim. Yeah, and Wim didn't really guide me. I think he was watching some beautiful and waving at some beautiful blonde woman over there, and I was over there in the ice bath. And I heard something vaguely like "right on," something like that. Basically, the first time I went into the ice bath, I tensed all my muscles. And like, I call it the male way sometimes, fighting against stress and give the extra bit and blah, blah, blah. So that's exactly what I did. So I immersed in that ice bath, and within 10 seconds, I just had to get out. And then later, only ice bath number 4 or 5, some good instructor said in my ear, slow down your breath. And I slowed down my breath. And this is where the pain of the ice disappeared and the cold disappeared. And I was like, oh my God, now I get it. And this is when it comes to surrender, like what is surrendering? Because it's always so easy, just enjoy, just live from the heart, just surrender, just let go.
Yeah.
But how do you do that? This is by slowing down your breathing. The practical side of surrender and of letting go and of acceptance, whatever, controlling your stress, controlling your inner world is slowing down your breathing. And within the ice bath, the ice is just a mirror. Yeah, you really get to face your own deepest fears. And by slowing down your breathing, you can control your deepest fears. And what I learned from that is I don't have to fear my
Wow.
own fear anymore. And I know these days I've been training now almost daily for 5 years. I'm like 2 or 3 years. I'm an instructor. I'm teaching more and more and more. I'm traveling the whole world. It's all really cool story. But these days I notice when I get stressed, and it's often like I'm a bit ashamed to say that for the smallest reasons. I'm like, really, come on, you're working on your personal development for 10 years and you stress out for this. But then, like I'm also just a human. And then I stress out for nothing. And the only thing I do is slow down my breathing. And then I'm okay. And then if I do a little bit of a breathing technique, I can even breathe slower afterwards. So that makes me, it's a practical side of surrender is to slow down your breathing. And if you look at life or look at stress, not from a fighting point of view, but from a surrender point of view, you become 10, 20 times stronger.
Do you? I think I'm going to ask you a question. I think I know the answer to this, but do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know Miyamoto Musashi?
Well, I'm, like the mother of my 4 kids is Japanese. So I've been there like 15 times. Yeah, it's a Japanese name, and I have the feeling it's a some.
Oh, I just lost you for a second. Hello? Okay. So whilst Tim reconnects here, I don't know what happened. So I'll just tell you, with Miyamoto Musashi was a samurai, a Ronin, really, which is basically a samurai that's not attached to a shogun. And when it's really awesome because, oh, okay, so let me just get him back here. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, so he'll be back in a second. I'm just gonna bring him on the camera again. Here we go. And we're almost done. There we go. Cool. There. We're back. Can you hear me, Tim? Yeah. Here. Alex from London says, awesome knowledge to have. Control your fears by slowing down your breath. I think we need to touch on that. I think we need to touch on that in a little bit, right after this Miyamoto Musashi thing where we left off. So you were saying about Miyamoto Musashi.
So
you know of him.
Yeah, I think it's a samurai. Is it possible?
Yeah. So he's a samurai who was not attached to any shogun. He never, ever lost a battle. He was very strategic in his mind. But one of the things that he says in the opening of his book, which is the Book of the Five Rings, he says, the way of the warrior is generally speaking generally speaking, the way of the warrior is the resolute acceptance of his own death. And it's interesting because death is the biggest fear that most people have because it's so finite. It's like right there. But when we surrender into a fear, you eventually fear it no more. And it's interesting how fear has the mind, when we start controlling that fear and we start facing it, it makes fear the only thing that gets smaller as it gets closer. So I think it's interesting because it is surrender. Miyamoto Musashi is speaking about surrender.
Yeah, and and well, you hear it with a lot of like teachers, martial arts, spiritual teachers, but the thing is, death is the biggest unknown. Basically, we all have an idea of what it is, or if it's nothing, or whatever. Everybody has their own philosophy, but we fear it because it's a big unknown. Now, to connect this with the ice bath, people and probably I was thinking that too, and maybe you were thinking that too. No, but an ice bath is dangerous. That can cause my death if I go into ice cold water. We've all seen the Titanic. I will die within a minute, and that is really not true. It is, if you go into an ice bath and you panic, you breathe high and fast, this paralyzing effect of that panic is a dangerous thing. But the ice bath, which is basically, we connect the ice bath with death, or let's keep it simple, an ice bath is just extreme fear. And by immersion in an ice bath and knowing what to do, because there's a mental part too. If you know that if you go into that ice bath and your breath gets high and you know how to slow down, and you have done exercises and breathing exercises, and you breathe like 2-3 times slower than 2 hours ago, and you know what's going to happen, and you have somebody who is whispering in your ear or saying like, okay, slow down your exhale now and stuff like that, a good instructor. This is where you get to face your fear, but also breathe through it. And like all these spiritual stuff finally makes sense, that beyond your fear is freedom, for example. Well, this is exactly what happens in an ice bath. You go in, and either you're calm immediately because you have had a good training, or you're a natural talent, or you have had experience, or whatever, or you breathe high and then you slow down your breathing and you get to be okay with it. There's maybe 10% of the people who stay in it for like 20-30 seconds and can't handle it, and the other 90% goes in the full 2 minutes. And that's also, you know, like I've had like an English woman that is in my mind now, that up to a few months before, she didn't dare leaving the house. Well, if you've been in that ice bath, you get to fear all the other stuff that you fear in your life. You get to fear that less because you're not afraid of your fear anymore. You know, so it's a very practical way of getting through one basic fear, which makes all the other fears, you know, if I can do an ice bath, why would I fear whatever? My mother, my wife, my child, my friends, my father, you know, like you can, so the rest of your fears just become less because you know what to do with it.
Wow.
Which
So
is
go on.
2 words. Breathe slowly. That's it. And that's simple, but not per se easy. Because somebody who is like completely panicking has tunnel vision. You know, you really have to connect with somebody, be near their ear and say, and I'll breathe out longer. But once you get there, it becomes, yeah, well, it is simple, not easy, but it can become simple if you, well, yeah, if you try it out, basically.
So right now I've been seeing that there's a few biohackers that have come online, and
Oh, cool.
quite
Hello.
a few of them actually I know
Yeah.
from the States, from Utah,
Oh,
and some from
nice.
London.
Yeah.
But I know that, especially the ones that I know from Utah, they really understand this concept of it's simple but not easy, you know?
No, but that's life, you know, simple but not easy.
It's about discipline as well, right?
About discipline, very much. That's a very good point because it's all about discipline. And I believe in having a daily ritual that not only contains of cold training and breathing techniques, but also of light exercise. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but the more discipline you have, it's like, I like the saying, structure creates freedom. Rules don't, you know, just following rules like
Yeah.
school, your parents, whatever, you know, like everything is changing. So all the rules you know are from the past and they will not hold in the future. If everything is changing, nothing is true, right? But
So true.
structure creates freedom. And the structure of daily ice bath, cold shower, breathing technique, you know, it can be anything. It can be journaling, and it can be waking up with gratitude. It can be falling asleep with a breathing technique. It can be falling asleep and being grateful, whatever. You know, I think you can fill in a lot about that too.
I think the most important disciplines that occur are in thought,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think, you see, I've never really done, even though I really want to, do the Wim Hof method properly. But I remember when I
Right.
was first introduced to it, was by my great friend who's actually online right now, Alex. And he said, "Oh man, you need to check this out." So,
Mm-hmm.
hey, Alex.
Nice,
and
Alex.
um, and here, download the app, man. It's great. So there's an
Yeah.
app for it.
Mm.
And I remember the first thing I did, I was on the train, and okay, kind of not the best idea, right? But you know, you learn. And the first thing that I did was I started to do it. I said, okay, look, and this is an undisciplined mind at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it right now. I don't care about the warnings. I know I can handle it. And then after one cycle, I was so dizzy. I'm like, okay, this train's moving too much and it's moving in circles.
So, weren't people, because the Wim Hof method breathing, and you're talking about the breathing, it's kind of intense, I would say, to look at, you know, somebody going like that. Were people looking at you when you were doing that breathing in the train?
Yes, but the thing is, I don't really care what other people think. Like you said,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
like
I'm
that.
pretty free, and I have my structures, and they're mostly here. You know, I actually
Yeah.
have. I'm pointing at it, but I have a thinking chair, and part of my daily structure is I have a place where first thing in the morning I go and I think. I don't write. I don't drink anything, not even a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or water. Nothing. I just sit
Hmm.
there and think. I have disciplines around thinking. Then I
Nice.
have an inversion table where I just shape my thoughts. And I just relax into my thoughts. I think further of the same thoughts, give them structure, sit down, journal them, and then I have a couch where I stretch my thoughts to make them bigger, better, more powerful. And then I have a discipline of talking about my thoughts and writing them so that, you know, when I have conversation is when I'm able to land good thoughts. Because let's face it, there are thoughts out there that if you're not disciplined, you're never going to land. Most thoughts you never land them because, let's just face it, they're bad thoughts. You know?
Yeah.
There's Tim Ward. And funny enough, his name was Tim. He's a baseball player. He was a baseball player, and he said, if you don't think too well, please don't do it too much. You know?
That's funny, yeah.
But for me, it's been the thinking. And my breathing has always been important for me. And I think, and this is a point I want to touch with you, I always say this to my clients, you need to live in the present. And when you think about the focus in time, you know, you can think to the left of time or to the right of time. So where do you breathe? Do you breathe in the past? Do you breathe in the present? Do you breathe in the future?
That's a good question. But, you know, like if you breathe consciously, you are immediately in the present.
That's the point.
You know,
and what better discipline?
Maybe we can do that later. We do a little test. We let people breathe slowly, and then for 30 seconds, people count their breathing. We do 1 or 2 rounds of Wim Hof method breathing, and then we measure it again afterwards. Because, you know, like this is always what I say in my courses. You know, maybe I'm the worst teacher you will ever meet, so you don't want to trust me. You want to test if that shit that I'm selling, which is basically air. Let's be honest. You know, I sell you air and the cold and ice. So, so I believe that you should never just believe anybody, but you should make it a daily ritual, test it for yourself if it works, and if it works, then you keep on doing it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, shall we do it? All right.
Let's do it.
So I need to time, and I cannot go on my phone. Let me see if I can get to it.
I got this one.
Okay, yeah, cool. So, okay, so first a warning. Yeah, this breathing technique can make you dizzy, and it can even make you black out. So you want to be safe. Yeah, safe means if you're behind the wheel in the car, you cannot do this breathing technique. If you're in the bathtub, you can definitely not do this breathing technique. If you're standing, I wouldn't do it, for sure not if it's your first time. If you're sitting, and especially if you're lying, you know, sitting backwards, or maybe you want to lie down, that is safe. Yeah, so you always want to make sure you're safe. So the question you can ask yourself, if I would pass out now, would I be in danger to myself, and maybe more important, to others? Yeah, like riding a car. So if people are seeing this, then please sit down, make yourself comfortable. And then what we will start with, you know, as I said, don't believe what I say. We will start with measuring 30 seconds. And then I'm going to ask you to do that, Peter. Measuring 30 seconds, and people will just breathe as slow as they can. Yeah, without holding their breath. So this doesn't count, like, and then holding your breath for 30 seconds. You know, just breathe slowly, fully in and out, and that's it. And then we're going to let's do 2 rounds of Wim Hof breathing. And then after that, we're going to measure it again. So, and here's where the biohack comes, because, well, let me not say what is going to happen. Let's first ask the people that are joining to react, you know. So I would like to ask all the people that are watching, please close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable. Start slowing down your breath.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do this too, but
yeah,
how am I gonna do the?
What are we going to do? Like 1 minute or 30 seconds?
Okay, let's do 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay.
Just to make sure that we're good, just so you know, before we start, I think we should say hello to everybody that we have in California and in Mexico. And just saw the CEO of Radio Latino Inc. go online right now. Hi, Sonia. Cool. We love you. We love you very much.
Yeah.
And okay.
I'm actually going to Mexico, to Monterrey, Santiago, in June.
Nuevo León. Yes.
And
amazing.
last weekend I was in New York. There's also I'm in contact with a lot of biohackers there, like Kyle Armour, maybe. Well, people doesn't matter. He has a biohacking group in the US. Biohacking and longevity. Hello everybody. Thank you for watching this. It's very nice. Now please make sure you're comfortable and you lean a bit backwards in a chair or even lie down. We start with measuring 1 minute, and you are going to count the number of times that you're breathing. Okay? So slow down your breathing, and then I'm going to count to 3, Peter, and then please press the button. Yeah?
Okay.
Slow down your breathing as much as you can. And then 1, 2, 3. We're measuring 1 minute, and you just count your breath in and out. Is 1 count.
There we go. Now how do I stop this?
Yeah,
okay,
just. So first a question. How many times did you breathe?
12.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Is that a lot?
Yeah, that's quite a lot. But that's cool because it's not about where you are now, it's about the growth you're in. Right?
Okay.
And did you notice that by just slowing down your breathing, you came into like a, I don't know, like a bit of a meditative state, you know, like.
I'm starting to relax a little. Yeah.
Okay.
Bianca, 8.
8, okay.
Let's get some numbers here. How about that?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, Bianca, 8. Who else did the exercise?
I had 2.5.
You did 2. That's unfair, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I have a cough, so. Marina, hi Marina. Marina's actually she's a neighbor. She doesn't live too far from here.
Oh, cool.
And she's got amazing horses, by the way. Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful horses. Okay, so we have 8. We have 7. Emma, hi Emma. Oh, no, that's the. She has a radio program in London, the one I talked to you about.
Oh, nice. Hi Emma.
So and that's in London. So we're going to be there too. Nice. Yeah. Sebastian, okay, Sebastian. Hats off to you, mate.
What did he have?
3.
Okay, cool.
3.
But even that is not a problem.
Really?
You know, like, yeah, you should never bet with me because I always win. I only do bets that I win. But Sebastian, if you want to bet that you can breathe slower than that, I'm in. I'm betting that you breathe slower in like 5 minutes time.
Cool. And I think Sebastian actually made another comment a little bit before here, which was no, not him. But okay. Anyways, so we have 7, we have 8, we have 10, we have 3, we have 2, 12. And we have 12. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's cool to be the highest, isn't it? You're number 1.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is it. You see, this happened to me with golf. I went out there and I thought, oh, I'm going to be trying this new sport. And so I went out and I thought I won because I got the highest score. You know?
Yeah.
But hey, uh,
Yeah.
so actually, we have a top athlete just coming online right now. He is a
Nice.
tennis instructor,
Mhm.
top guy. He's got amazing strategies for tennis, and that's George. Hey, George.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about that later, but there's a lot of top sporters who use this method, especially the breathing, but also the cold training to get even better. But let's talk about that later. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's do 2 rounds of Wim Hof breathing. Let me first explain like the mechanics. Yeah, how do you do it basically? Well, we're going to breathe like 30 times very deep. And the idea is that you force it in. So like, and the breath out is just, yeah, so force it in and let it go. And you can breathe in through the nose or through the mouth. Through the mouth, it's, through the day, in the whole day, you want to breathe nose in, nose out. But during a breathing technique, you can breathe in through the mouth. That's not a problem because it's only like maybe 10, 20 minutes, whatever. Through the mouth, you get more air and more oxygen in. So if you really want to feel it, just breathe in through the mouth.
Okay.
We're going to breathe 30 times. Then that last breath, we breathe in and we let go. So it's like 50 to 70% air is out of your lungs. So only 30% left. Yeah, like a normal letting go breath. Then you hold your breath for as long as you can. And I've done that online also, but at a certain moment there will be the tennis instructor. He probably has a very good condition, and he can probably hold his breath for 2 minutes, and maybe other people only 1 minute. So say at a certain moment after 1.5 minutes, maybe I use you as the benchmark. We're going to breathe in again. Okay.
Okay.
So then the
go on.
last part. So it's 30 times breathing. Breathing out, holding your breath for as long as possible. You call it the retention. And then if you want to breathe again, you breathe in fully and keep it with full lungs for like 10 seconds. That is 1 round of Wim Hof breathing.
Let's go through it all over again so that everybody gets it.
Okay.
All right.
30 times, 30, 40, 50. We're going to do 30 now. 30 times breathing very deep in and just forcing it in and letting it go on the breath out. So, yeah.
Okay.
Then that
30.
last breath, the same, but then you hold your breath.
Hold it out.
Yes, important.
Okay.
Yes, good.
Got it.
Good nuance. We hold our breath for as long as we can. If you want to breathe again, and you keep it with full lungs for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
And the warning again.
The warning. Good. Yeah. So don't do this if you're standing. Don't do this when you're riding your bicycle. Don't do this when you're driving your car. And for sure not do it when you're in the bathtub, because there is a chance, because you're over breathing, you become dizzy. You can become dizzy or tingling sensations. You become dizzy. There is a possibility. I have seen it sometimes, like last weekend in New York. But you pass out for maybe a few seconds. But if that happens driving a car, it's just not healthy. And it has happened before, and then the Wim Hof method is blamed. And it's like blaming your meditation teacher because you were meditating in the car with your eyes closed, like you gotta stay sane. Be safe, and whenever you just ask yourself, what if I would pass out even for 2 seconds? Would that be, if you're just cutting a carrot in the kitchen, it's definitely unsafe, so just sit down or lie down, and if you're sitting down, lean backwards.
Done.
Okay. Disclaimer. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Good. Let's do it.
Okay, so just breathe with me, my pace for now. Okay, here we go. Fully in. Bit deeper. Bit faster. 20 more. Last 10. Even faster and deeper. Now prepare for your last breath by breathing in fully and just let it go and hold your breath. Okay, then. Yeah, you had some air in your lungs. Breathe it out.
Yeah.
So maybe everybody wants to join. Then breathe fully in. Hold it with full lungs. 10 seconds, I'm counting. You can let go. Let's do another round because I know you want to talk about how you feel. Let's do one more. The good
Let's
thing
do
in
one more.
life, the good things in life, you always have to do twice. I always say this, and then somebody said like, yeah, well, if you can, you know, okay, if
Yeah.
you can. Well, we can.
If at first you don't succeed, then skydiving's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's do another
Okay.
round. Ready?
Yep.
Yeah. I want to say everybody ready, but I can't hear everybody, so that's okay. Here we go again. Now make it a bit more intense if you can.
Okay.
Another 10, even deeper in. Now prepare for your last breath by breathing in fully and let go 70%. Hold your breath. Close your eyes. Ready? Okay. So breathe out the old air. Breathe in. And hold. 10 seconds. I'm counting. And let go. Now, before we're talking, just keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
Breathe slowly. And just try to feel as much as you can what is happening in your body. And then let's measure again that minute. And slow down your breathing as much as you can. And then if you can press the 1 minute on 3. Okay, slow down your breathing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And please count the number of times that you're breathing.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to know from all the people that are watching, what's the number? What's your number?
Okay.
From you too, of course. But I want to know how you feel also.
I feel amazing. I feel really good. It was really, really very grounding is the word I would use. You know, it's very grounding. It's very calming, you know? Yeah, it actually, I wanted to cough at one point, and then I realized it was all mental.
Yeah, cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Emma went down from 10 to 6.
Okay, nice.
Which is very, very good.
And you?
Oh no, I went down to 1.5.
Ah, damn, yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I was on 1.5 too, actually.
Yeah.
So
that was good.
So I would like the other number to hear the other numbers. The average is divided by 2 to 3. So like a growth of 100 to 200%.
Okay.
You could say like inverted growth, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. An improvement, let's say.
Improvement, yeah, of 100 to 200%. And we're doing this, but it was at less than 10 minutes. Can you imagine what happens if you breathe for half an hour or an hour?
Wow. Yeah. No, I can imagine. It's yeah. And if you do it on a consistent basis, look at that. Bianca Ross. Hello, Bianca. She's from Holland too, by the way.
Holland, Holy Land. Hello. Hallo Bianca. Hoi Bianca, hoe gaat het ermee?
And Bianca went down to 3. From I believe it was 8. Yeah, from 8 to down to 3. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And now I would like to hear the other numbers, but I would like to explain first the physiology, because this is not a method that you have to believe it and otherwise it doesn't work. That is just a bunch of crap. It has to work without, you have to be critical about all that stuff that's out there in the marketplace. I think that's very healthy. So let me first speak about the physiology of breathing. Yeah, we have, it's really simple, but it may sound, it's really like, I can explain it in 1 minute, but some words may be a bit technical. So within our body, we have a conscious part and an unconscious part. Yeah, the conscious part is, I'm missing my mother, I'm picking up my phone to call her. The unconscious part, also called the autonomic nerve system, is like your heartbeat, your cardiovascular system, the opening and widening of your vessels, your immune response, your hormonal release, stress response, all those things that, up to the average doctor, and probably 99% of the doctors will be, oh, but that's impossible to influence that, But since Wim Hof went to the hospital and trained a group of people, they found out that you can actually influence that autonomic nerve system. There's a research about it. I can send you the link later, or a video about that.
Yeah, we will share that here in the event.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But so the breath is, of course, is also autonomic. You don't have to think about breathing, and if you sleep, you don't die. You don't. It's purely unconscious. You don't have to think about it. But, and this is the magic. This is the bridge from the conscious to the unconscious part. You can consciously change your breathing. You can do that in 3 ways. Like, one is breathe faster. The other is to hold your breath. And the third is to slow down your breathing. Average meditation, slow down your breathing while you listen to my voice, like that. Now, and Wim is a very intuitive guy. And I know his younger brother, who basically has been working with Wim for the last 35 years, and they basically tried out stuff. Hey, what about this, Wim? So he just tried things, but he did exactly the right thing, because the Wim Hof method is a combination of breathing faster and holding your breath. But the result is, and we just saw that you're breathing less afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. And
this is true.
You want me to explain even a little bit more?
Yes, I'd like to explain that, and I also would like to explain how my heart rate at rest dropped from 65 down to 52 right now.
Yes. That happens. I don't measure my resting heart rate, but I was just in Poland teaching, also with Wim, and it happens all the time. Like, you get these wow, like I've like 40 from 42 to 35, and never, like for 2 years already measuring your resting heart rate, and then suddenly dropping. So you clearly see the benefits of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so through the breath, consciously changing your breathing, you have a direct effect on your autonomic nerve system. And then let me give you like the three main benefits of this breathing technique. First is you train your cardiovascular system. Now, this is very interesting because in the United States or in the world, I don't know, but the biggest cause of death is cardiovascular. Basically, somewhere in the body, some vessel pops and somebody dies, you know. And it's often contributed to alcohol and stress and negative thinking, of course, you know, in the spiritual world, and whatever, smoking, whatever, you know. But in the end, it's cardiovascular. So if you have a way to train your cardiovascular system, that's an absolute biohack, right? Yep. So if you're breathing faster, you get more air in and your vessels are contracting. And then when you hold your breath, and you have less air, the CO2 goes up and they're widening. So you like lightly training your cardiovascular system. Wow. If you do that every day, not only will your vessels be more flexible, and that probably shows in, you know, like looking younger, but you will also live younger. And I know you're asking yourself, like, how old is Tim? Well, I'm 88. No, I'm 49. Okay, so that is the first benefit. And the second benefit is through this breathing, you alkalize your body. Yeah, so our blood has a pH level of 7.4, and not this 10 minutes, you know, really lightly, but if you do like, after 3 rounds, this is the data that I know, the numbers, after 3 rounds, it's at 7.5 and it goes up to 7.8, and then it lasts between 1 to 5 hours. Yeah, so alkalizing your body is for people who want to be healthy. Yeah, many people believe, I do believe that if you live too acidic, this is where illnesses grow. So if you have a way to alkalize your body other than nutrition, it's very handy, and especially the breath that you have with you all the time. But this is also the reason why top sporters use this method. Because if you put more oxygen basically in your muscle and your nerve tissue, you know, you become stronger, but it's basically because your body is more alkaline. So you know that once you sport a lot, then you don't have enough oxygen in your cells. And this is where you get into an efficient dissimulation called the anaerobic, without oxygen dissimulation. And then glucose is, let's keep it a bit simpler. Then you get lactic acid. And lactic acid is the stuff that is giving you muscle pain. That's purely a lack of oxygen. If you don't have enough oxygen, you make lactic acid. So if you have done, you know, say you want to run a marathon or some other whatever event, sports event, and you do like a half an hour or maybe even an hour of this breathing, you know, the wall, that acidification of your body where, you know, you say you're a marathon runner and normally it comes at 30K, it will come at 33 or 35K. You know, the wall where you become tired and you have to run the rest on your character or
mental energy and
mental
attitude,
whatever. Attitude, yeah.
The attitude.
So that is the second main benefit, and the third benefit, and this is why people who have mental challenges, let's say it like that, are unhappy. You know, and you make dopamine. So if you do like, according to Joe Rogan, he came with this data. After 4 rounds of Wim Hof breathing, you have 5.5 times more dopamine in your system. So it makes you happier. And this can be interesting for people who have a mental challenge. I know that I don't agree with Wim on everything, but with this, you know, like being depressed is not, maybe partly, you know, like you can learn to think differently, but that is a very small part. You just have a lack of certain biochemicals and neurotransmitters. Now, dopamine is a happy hormone and a neurotransmitter. So if you have a natural way of creating more dopamine that is safe, you can do what we did. You can do that 10 times a day if you want, as long as you stay safe, you know?
Yeah.
So those are the 3 main benefits. And this is all autonomic, right? The opening and winding of your vessels to make the pH level of your blood higher, which is less acidic, and to make and release more dopamine. It's all autonomic. It's all unconscious. So we have a direct influence on that through the breathing.
This is quite interesting because, of course, vasodilation is totally autonomic, but if you're able to control it, you're really able to control your body in sports and other things. and also in your thinking, which is really amazing. So this acidity thing, I'd like to just touch on that a little bit, because of course a lot of people really truly believe in the alkaline diet, considering that the acid in your stomach can dissolve metal. I think the breathing part is a little more realistic and way more pragmatic.
I believe so too. I believe, like the alkaline diet is basically less meat, less fat, more veggies, more fruits, more seeds and nuts. Well, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that if you change your diet to more veggies and nuts and fruits and stuff like that, then that it's better than McDonald's.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but my body has not evolved to the eating McDonald's.
I can do it.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
Because I breathe.
Because
the thing is, you have your breath with you all the time. So I would do both. I'm doing both. And food-wise, I'm eating everything. I don't have I don't do dieting. I don't do any form of dieting. But I'm pretty body conscious, so kind of feel when I eat too much, I eat less, and when my body is asking for nuts, I take them, or dried fruits or whatever. So if you're body intelligent, you can do whatever you want, because dieting is also another mental thing, and that's just my personal thing. I don't really believe in diets, but I believe in living healthy 80% detox at home and at work, and then the 20% outside I retox. So you can find me partying with my friends. These days not a lot anymore because I'm traveling most weekends. But I'm not against anything. And well, that's about nutrition. You have your breath with you all the time. So basically you can use the dead moments in life by either slowing down your breathing, or like you in a train. Breathe. And I always teach people, apart from the Wim Hof method, the light version that you can do in a train, so nobody watches you like this. Because not everybody is like you, like I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about me, So, and that's basically, breathe in, mouth out, but silently, adapt to the noise. And then when you're tingling, you feel tingling sensation in your fingers, it's time to breathe in. Do you want more energy? You breathe in, hold it to your breath in. You want more calmness? You breathe in, breathe out, and hold it.
This is interesting because, you see, when we talk about relaxation, I think in the history of stress, there hasn't been a single instance of someone relaxing when somebody says, relax. Right? But breathe in, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but also, like if somebody goes in, I've seen this many times, if somebody goes into an ice bath and they panic, if you panic, it's very difficult to listen, So if somebody panics, either get them out and they wait 1 or 2 minutes and they try it again, but they decide that themselves. It's not me who decides that, you're the boss of your own body. But if they're panicking, and I can, I say, okay, listen to me. Now extend your exhale. You're doing okay. Just extend your exhale. And then first a few exhales, and then extend the inhale, slowing down the breath in and out. And this panic just dissolves into, oh my God, what is happening to me? And that is, like Hollywood movies, it's a bunch of crap. But that's one thing, if there's stress and somebody says, okay, breathe, like breathe in, hold, breathe out. That is something that really works. If you know how to breathe, you don't have to suffer from stress anymore.
Now that's an awesome piece of advice right there. So, Tim, I just want to let everybody know that you are touring the world.
I am,
teaching the method.
Yes.
And you're going to be here in Spain. Yeah?
Yes, I am. Actually, more times. The first time will be in Barcelona.
Okay.
Which is 30th of March.
So we've got that link. So you gave me that link a little while ago. I'm going to post this. So anybody who wants to go to this, just, okay. I'm going to post this on the event in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to post that.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not going to do it now because I'm getting all confused there, and I'd rather just breathe.
Yeah. So that, but talk because we are talking about biohacking.
Yeah.
And so the fast breathing has all these benefits, which is a total biohack. But the real let's say from my perspective, my big lesson is that by slowing down my breathing and being conscious of my breath, I have control for my inner world. And the breathing technique is just a technique for training, much like you go running in the park. You go running in your park, your heartbeat goes up, but in the end you have a lower heartbeat. You can train, and that's the cool thing, you can train your respiratory system. You can learn how to breathe. They should teach this at school. And they will, like I know that I will be a teacher who wants to teach kids this, because if you can slow down your breathing, you can either have less stress equals more happiness. Yeah, so spiritual lesson of today. The key to happiness, breathe slowly. That's it.
That's awesome.
Or you can choose, and this is why I train a lot of corporates also and corporate people, or you can have more on your plate, like more projects or whatever. Because I have a side project, and this makes me practice what I preach. I just founded my own, I didn't tell you, I just founded my own investment fund. Yesterday I got a message that my license is accepted, so within like 2 months we will be live trading.
Oh, kudos for that, man. Here.
Yeah, man, thanks.
Hey.
But why, this is just something I have to do, like I have my dreams and sometimes something passes by and I'm like, yes, that's mine. And that's happening. That's this story. For another time, it's a very cool story. I have huge plans to change the world with it, but not for now. But the practical thing is that I get to practice what I preach. Yeah, if you have 6 screens in front of you and you just did a trade and 5 minutes later you're either a few thousand in the plus or a few thousand in the minus, that creates stress.
Yeah.
And I get to practice what I preach because I know that I feel it and then I just slow down my breathing. And you know what's happening? I get to get a little bit of distance. This is where meditation teachers are talking about. It's also breathing. I also have this distance, like whatever. Yeah, just breathe slowly. That's it. The practical side is just breathe slowly. It's a total body hack.
And when you talk about investment, I mean, this is important because we know that most of the mistakes when you're dealing with trades happen either because a person gets too greedy or too fearful.
That is funny. That was my first lesson being a trader. It's like my boss said, it was like the first day. I've been more than 20 years in the financial an option trader basically. And the first day he said, like, listen, a good trader has 2 features. One, he doesn't have a big ego, because ego shows in either being too fearful means you're too scared to do a trade. You will always be too late. You will never make money. You will probably never even do something. But the other side is even more dangerous, is where you're making money, you become too big for your boots, too greedy. Yeah, this is the other side of ego. That's even more dangerous because you probably drag down the whole company with you down the drain. And the second thing he said was, there's only the trade to come. So a good trader lives in the present. If you just did your worst trade or your best trade ever, it doesn't matter. There's only the trade that comes now.
Wow.
Financial world. Cool.
Wow.
Right?
That is the first time I hear the financial world meeting the spiritual one.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. We do that another talk. I'm sure we can talk a lot about that too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, we were talking about biohacking, and maybe do you wanna say something or open something?
Well, of course we have your whole event here. It's going to be a whole weekend here, right? In
Yes.
Barcelona. So I wanted to ask you, because I've seen that you are doing quite a lot of events there, and I'd like you to touch on that, please.
Okay. Okay. Because it's rather new in Spain, and Spanish people love the heat. We do on Thursday evening, we do like a introduction Wim Hof method for, I don't know, 10 or 15 euros or something, like really cheap. And this is without the ice bath. Yeah, so it's just a theory and a bit of breathing, basically, and a little bit more than what we're talking about, but the theory, the benefits, breathing, and everything that can happen, and doing Q&A. Then Thursday evening, we do a 2.5 training about my own technique that I call Body Zen, which is the 3 pillars within my technique is light exercise, breathing techniques, and a certain way of thinking that can instantly. Oh,
you're still here.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Yeah, good.
I lost my line. Sorry.
So the 3 pillars of your teachings.
I am. And the last one is, so that's light exercise and daily ritual, breathing techniques, and a way of thinking that can instantly change a certain belief system. And then we do Saturday, we do the Wim Hof method fundamental course. That's like the normal training that includes an ice bath. But because breathing techniques are so important, we do on Sunday, we do a whole breathing training. So that is from the whole spectrum of breathing from A to Z, including the physiology that I just touched on a little bit. But from, you know, slow breathing, fast breathing, chest, belly, nose, mouth, Buteyko, pranayama, Wim Hof method, advanced techniques, and like transformational breathing, which is can be even more intense. Yeah, so we do 4 days, 1.5 hour Thursday evening, Wim Hof method crash course. Friday, 2.5 hour Body Zen, my own technique, also includes breathing techniques. Saturday, the fundamental course, including an ice bath, and Sunday, a full breathing training.
Wow!
Cool, right? Yeah.
Man, that's like 4 days of full-on body hacking and biohacking and mind hacking and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. And so I just shared right now the event, and as I saw it before, it actually has the schedule in it.
Yeah, it does.
Which is really fantastic.
And there is an email address of Marta. Marta is my friend and co-organizer in Barcelona, and you can mail her. There's a ticket link of the Wim Hof method for the Saturday. Mm-hmm. So and also if you are interested in the whole everything, you get like a huge discount because we like people that come back basically. And
Good.
Then you should mail Marta, and her email address is in there too. But I will make sure that I post it in one of the comments.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So Tim, I think we're going to put this on. Yeah, shall we just leave it live for, let's say, a week? Leave it on the internet for a week so people can listen to it and everything, and then just take it off so that they can appreciate it?
I like that idea.
And how about if we meet again next week and we go in a little deeper?
Yeah, let's do that. And I would like to ask people then, like, if you're watching this and something is not clear, or you have a question, or you have maybe a problem, or maybe you're a top sporter and you want to get more, you know, like, if you ask questions, either we touch on them in the next call that we make, or I will make like a 1 or 2 or 3 minute YouTube video about it. You know, if I think it's very general, I can do that too. That's like that's no effort for me. Like making a cup of tea. You know, a little effort and a big pleasure. Yeah. So,
just a reminder to everybody. Please, if you like this this video, comment something on it. Whether if you're watching it live. You know, thank you for your participation. Thank you for watching, and just comment stuff on it. It'd be great. If you're not watching it live and you're watching it in this week that we're going to be leaving it online, yeah, just also please, 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 comment on it and share it. And if you're watching it in YouTube, subscribe.
And
Okay.
like.
And like, yes. Subscribe and like.
Yes.
All right, Tim, I think this is all we've got time for. We've overextended ourselves a little bit.
Really?
Yeah,
Time goes
just a
fast
bit.
when you have fun. Yeah.
Exactly. But we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, nice. I'm looking
Perfect.
forward.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Nice,
Well,
man.
Tim, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too.
Take care of yourself, my friend.
Yes. Thank you. You too, man. Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
Bye.